We spent over $136,000 running ads straight to our Skool group. Some campaigns perform really well, some others not that much. But we tracked every click and purchase, and in this video, I'm gonna break down the 3 biggest lessons we learned, the ones we wish we had before spending a dime. And if you're running ads to Skool or you're thinking about it, this will potentially save you thousands of dollars and heavily improve how you market your group. And in case you don't know me yet, I'm Joel. I'm the co-owner of the Ads Lab and 2-time Skool Games winner. Okay, first things first, I want to show you that I'm not lying, and in fact, we've spent that money. So here's a screenshot of our ad account showing that we spent $136,000 in Facebook ads. So let's start with the first lesson, which is your ads show more about your offer and about page than about themselves. What do I mean by that? We gotta think about what is the true purpose of an ad. The true purpose of an ad, as we understand it, is not to sell your offer directly. It's just to create enough curiosity so people click the link and go to your about page. Your about page is the one that should do the selling. Let me give you a real good example of this. A couple of months ago, we started working with a client of ours. They recently won the Skool Games in the first quarter. So they were doing amazing. They were doing around $50,000 per month. They were killing it, but their ads were not performing as good. So first things first, when we started working together, we went to see the numbers to try to identify where the problem was. Our clients were telling us that the problem was definitely in the ads, that they were not performing because they were seeing the results and the results were like very, very bad. But we looked at the direct results, and yes, they were bad. But we also look at the cost per link click, and that was good. So then we went to look at the about page conversion rate. And even with a free trial, they were converting 0.7% of the traffic that landed on their page. So we immediately, like, all lights went on because we identified that that was the problem. It was the about page. So we made a couple of changes to the about page, and in 4 or 5 days, the conversion rate jumped from 0.7% to over 2%. And as a consequence, the ads, without doing nothing to the ads, we changed nothing about the ads, but they started performing way, way better. So basically what you need to see is this whole process as a continuum. So we got here a straight line, we got here the ad, this is the about page, okay, that looks better. And this is the money, the conversion. So you basically need to see it as a straight line, okay? If from here to here, even though it's normal that you want to change things on the ad side because they are the ones that are spending all the money. So it's like, okay, something is not working. I need to go to change the ads. Calm down. Because maybe the ads are getting the clicks and they are doing its job. So the problem is not here. Then look at your about page, look at your conversion rate, because maybe the issue is in here, right? The issue is in here, and you need to fix this, because if you fix this, as a consequence, this will be directly fixed too. So how do we build a killer? Let me just erase all this. How we build a killer about page then? In all of my marketing assets, there's one concept that guides them, which is consumption precedes conversion. This one right here. What I mean by this is that if someone lands on your about page, if they not consume the information that you're putting out there, they won't convert. Because every single one of us needs a threshold of information before we make a buying decision. If your about page does not give that information, or it gives it, but you make it difficult to consume, they won't convert. So how do I think about making an about page that increases the amount of possible consumption? First, I started by analyzing my own behavior. What do I do when I land on an about page? Do I go for the BSL first? Do I watch it all? Do I go for the slides? Do I go read the copy? What I've noticed with my own behavior, again, is that I do not care at all about the BSL. I know that that is a BSL. I don't want to watch it. It's like a 10-minute video of someone trying to sell me something. I don't want to watch that. I go directly for the more immediate source of information, which is the images and the copy. I skim through the slides and then I go read a couple of lines of the copy. If that convinces me enough and the price is not too high, maybe I join if I'm really interested. If I need more information, maybe I give the BSL a try and I watch a couple of minutes of the BSL. But my natural path when I land on an about page is go to the slides and then go read the copy. And then if I need more information, the BSL. But that was not enough for me. I needed to understand also what was the behavior of more people. So I made a post inside the Ads Lab, inside our community, and I got 46 responses of what was the path of every single one of these people when they landed on an about page. We all share our perspective, and 99% of people, the common pattern that we found was that many people skip the BSL. We don't want to watch that. We go through either the copy first or the images first. And then the second one is either the copy too or the slides too, right? And then if we need more information, we go to the BSL. That's the natural path. So based on this, how I build the about pages is I put 80% of my effort into the copy and the slides and 20% of my effort into the BSL. And also, something very important to know, I don't put my BSLs on the first media slot. And that's because since many people tend to skip it, I want people, the most important real estate on your about page is basically the first media slot, the first one that you have, because it's as soon as someone lands in your about page, that's the first thing that they will see. So you don't want to have as the first media slot something that 99% of people just skips. That's not making the about page as consumable as possible, if that makes sense. So I put images first, then I put the BSL on the last slot, and then obviously the copy, right? So I put 80% of my effort in the copy, I put 80% of my effort too in the slides, and the 20% left, I put it in the BSL, and again, it's at the last slide of the about page. I can make a more in-depth video about how we build the about page, but just understanding this concept, just go through your own behavior. Try to understand what do you do when you land on an about page and mimic that behavior with your own about page. Try to make it as consumable as possible, because the most likely is that your members follow the same behavior as you. So build your about page like that, as you like to consume it. Awesome. So the next lesson that we learned was to not be scared of losing money at first. What do I mean by this is, if you look at our numbers in here, full transparency, this is a screenshot of our own Facebook ad account numbers, okay? So this is the total amount that we spent, and this is the total amount that we've got back, supposedly, right? In here, we can see that we spent $136,000, but we got $91,000 back. This basically means that we've lost around $40,000. But we do not care. Why? Because Facebook only shows the amount of money that you've gotten on month one of every member. If you've got a good enough Skool group and your churn is low, that means that your LTV is high, people will stay in your group. And since this is a monthly recurring revenue business, the revenue of the first month doesn't matter that much. What matters is your total LTV. And if your total LTV is bigger than the cost per acquisition, you're basically profitable. So that's why we do not care about the numbers that are showing in the Facebook Ads Manager. And what we care is about the total earnings that we got. This is, again, full transparency. The past 12 months, all the revenue that we collected with the Ads Lab. And as you can see, we are profitable, right? But according to the Facebook Ads Manager, we are not. So how can we be sure that we are not burning money and that we know our numbers and that we are doing things responsibly? By knowing your LTV. How do you know your LTV? LTV is a formula, lifetime value, that you can calculate it by dividing price by churn, but not your group price. Here's the thing. If you've used a strategy like we used in the Ads Lab, and most people in Skool do, like they start at a lower price and they slowly start increasing, like they start at $9, then $19, then $29, then $39. There's a lot of people in your group at different price points. It wouldn't be correct to calculate your LTV based on the price point that you are right now, because there are many people in your group that are not at that price point. So what you gotta do to figure out your real price point is your total MRR that you have right now divided by the amount of paid members. And this is, if you go to your dashboard, this is like the number of paid members are there, the MRR is in the middle, so you just gotta divide that. If you divide that, it will give you your average price point in your community. And that's this one. And that's the one that you use to calculate your LTV. So you grab that price, you divide it by your churn. So let's say that your average price point in your community is $99. Your churn is 5%, which is 0.05. And $99 divided by 0.05, it's around $2,000. And that is your LTV. And that means that if you're running ads and your cost per acquisition is lower than $2,000, you're essentially running profitable ads. If you are running ads and you got a cost per acquisition of $200, okay, that show is a little bit sad, but bear with me, $200, and your LTV is 2,000, you're essentially 10x your returns. But the problem is that since your group is $99, the first month you will lose money, the second month you will break even, the third month you will start making profit, and all the next months and following months you will make a profit, pure profit. Will you take that trade? I would take it every single day of the week. The only thing that would prevent me from doing this is if I didn't have enough cash flow, which means that I didn't have enough money in the bank to be spending $200 per customer because I'm taking a loss on month one. But that could be solved by upselling people into the annual plans. That's one, so you can get more cash up front, or selling a percentage of people into a higher ticket program that gets you more cash up front that you can then reinvest to put money in the front end, so you get people at this price point and you basically profit for a 10x, which is amazing. And the third and last lesson that we learned is that you need to retarget your about page viewers. The average conversion rate in a Skool about page is 4%. That means that 96% of your traffic is going to your about page and leaving. And this is normal because if you're running ads, especially cold ads, so you don't have an audience, you're running straight to a cold audience, you're running ads to them, it's difficult for them to commit to you on the first date. Now, let's just imagine that I'm in a bar, I see a cute girl over there, I introduce myself, and like the next sentence after I introduce myself is, "Do you want to marry me?" Obviously, she would say, "Fuck no, you're crazy, I'm calling 911, I'm running away from you." But that's essentially what you're trying to do with 96% of your traffic. Now, I'm not asking you to go on 17 dates with 96% of your about page viewers, but what I'm asking you to do is to follow up with them in not a creepy way. What you basically need to do is run retargeting ads to those people. These people are your warmest audience. They have landed on your about page, but they had some kind of doubts, they had questions, they had objections that prevent them from joining. You want to prepare some retargeting ads and run these ads to them so you can eliminate those objections, so you will have a higher likelihood of them joining in the future. So how can you run these retargeting ads? I prepare a little step-by-step tutorial. The first thing that you need to do is you need to set up your meta pixel. You need to go to your community, then you go to settings, plugins, you go to the meta pixel tracking, and you follow the tutorial there that it's made by Sam himself. This will track everyone who views the about page and everyone that joins. The next step is creating the 2 custom audiences for this. You will need to go to the ads manager. You will create a custom audience for everyone who has signed up to your group, who has joined your group, and you will create the custom audience for everyone who has viewed your about page. Then you go to create the actual ad campaign. And when you are selecting the audience, what you will do, and here's the most important step, is you will go and select everyone who has viewed your about page as the audience, but you will exclude the people who have joined. That way you're only targeting the people who have viewed the about page but didn't join. And the final step is basically to run the ads. You need to create some ads, you need to overcome the objections, and you need to use a low budget with those ads. What do I mean by low budget? If you have $2, $5 a day, put that. You don't need more money than that. And that's because you are not targeting a huge audience of millions of people. These people are basically like 10,000 people at most, so you don't need a lot of money to target them all. If you have $2, if you have $5, you can run this retargeting campaign. You can follow up with 96% of the people who are not joining your group, and you will essentially see a significant increase in joins if you start following up with people. You don't have any excuses. Well, maybe your excuse is, well, I don't know what kind of ads I need to run. Well, here are our 3 best performing ads of all time in our retargeting campaign. They are just screenshots of comments and posts inside our Skool community of people saying nice things about us. You literally have no excuse to not run these retargeting ads and to not do all the other things that we discussed in this video. Bye.